There you go, friends. And well, here we are. And lately, nowadays, I notice that it seems like there's like the economy is kind of slow, right? And I would agree. It seems like people are prices are kind of high on items. I know in our supermarket, for one reason or another, they're up there higher than people might like to see. And me being a people, I got to agree. Yeah, it's what used to be 50 cents now might be $1, or or more, or maybe a little less, but still everything seems to be going up. And yet wages don't seem to be going up with it. So it's been tough on people, myself and Sandy included. It, it's rough. I don't think there's any. I don't think we've got any trip planned to Aruba at the moment. Heck, we think it's a pretty good day when we can get to walk around the local Walmart and just look at the stuff. It's in there. No, things are, I think, a little bit jammed. Maybe not hideously jammed, but jammed. And you always kind of worry that things could get worse, but then again, things could maybe, let's hope, get better. But I remember this would have been, a long time ago. Let's see, I'm older than dirt, so we're talking maybe 50 years ago, in that neck of the woods. So it'd be in easily a good 50 years ago. All of a sudden, there was this real big downturn in in the economy, and at that time I was working as a boilermaker. We basically traveled central Pennsylvania pretty much, putting boilers together, repairing them, installing them. But again, you weren't talking boilers the size of like down in your basement, the size of maybe a couple of garbage cans. No, these were boilers in many cases were as big as a small house. Some of them 3 stories high and higher. Some were, again, say a tin can shape. Picture a tin can laying on its side. Those boilers might be the size of a tractor trailer, and we worked on them. It was pretty cool work. But then all of a sudden, there were no people calling to come repair the boiler. It was like, what happened? Yeah, and we ran out of work. And I remember, oh my God, I remember our boss, Charlie. If I recall right, Charlie kind of looked like that guy. Wasn't there a guy on Laugh-In who would say, "You doesn't has to call me Charlie, you doesn't has to call me Bob, you doesn't has to call me," yeah, and like that, yeah, yeah, right. I think he smoked a cigar or something, yeah, and that was kind of like Charlie. And we'd go. Well, all of a sudden, one day he called us into his office, and he said, "Man," he says, "I've got to lay you off." So what'd we do? We're all wondering what's wrong. He says, "We've run out of work. No one's called. We've got maybe one job. I'll put my son on that, and you guys are all laid off till." He says, "You're all good workers. I'm not mad at you or nothing like that, but there'll be nothing for you to do. So why don't you can get laid off, go sign up for unemployment. It'll take you a week or two to get, I guess, to get your first checks, but then once I hire you back, you'll find that you'll get a couple of checks over and above what I'm paying. You'll get your what's due for your unemployment, plus you'll be getting paid from me. So you'll be in good shape all in due time. He says it. I've been through this. He was saying, Charlie was saying how he had been through similar situations when he worked at a boiler plant, and he got laid off a few times. He said it stinks. In fact, he says it goes so far as to say it sucks. But it's a good country. We'll be back, I'm sure, working again real soon. Might take a month or maybe 2 months. So you guys may just go home and enjoy being home with the wife, and hey, there you go. He said, I guess if that's what you're doing. But boy, I remember I had never been laid off before. I've always had work, and there I was facing 2 months, give or take, of nothing except the unemployment checks, which by the way were pretty good. When I finally got one, it took a week or two for them to go through the paperwork, and geez, they weren't such bad checks. In fact, I remember the wife and I were living pretty good on it because our house was basically paid for. The one we were in was up in northern Pennsylvania. It wasn't an expensive house to begin with, so we frankly weren't doing too bad. It was, and yet I was a wreck because I wasn't working. I was driving poor Molly nuts, and she said, "Why don't you just go see? Maybe there's something you can do to help someone in town here." Or says maybe you can go. I don't know. Go find something that maybe you can ride on our neighbor's truck. Ride with him a little bit. Head out on the highway for a while. Says he comes back every night. She says, well, that's good. But at least you're out riding around with him. Maybe he'd probably like to have some company. Went over and asked the neighbor what he thought. He said, yeah, sure. Yeah, come on, we'll sit and talk. He said, I know some great places to get a hamburger and stuff. We'll be fine. He says, and he went so far as to say, I know you're unemployed, so it's my treat. Just remember when I don't have any work with this truck, he said maybe you can get me into the boiler place. I said, well, we'll see. As it turns out, my neighbor Carl he had more than enough driving to do. I never knew him to be without a destination on tap. So, but Molly and I got around it eventually, and I don't know, the checks started coming in, and I went and cashed them. Like I said, felt awful, but I don't know. All of a sudden, one day, phone rings. It's the boss down at the boiler place. Says, "Okay, you guys get on back here. We got work." And we said, well, when do you want us? And he said, tomorrow, bright and early, you be ready. We're sending you on the road. And I said, gosh, where are we going? He said, yeah, you're going out to, I don't know, State College, Pennsylvania. They got a boiler down. We got to fix it. And you better hurry up, because when you're done with that, we got about 3 more. And they're all screaming. I said, gosh, okay. And so we wound up working our tushes off. But the thing is the unemployment checks were coming in, even though we were still working. They had to catch up to the ones we missed when we first applied. So oh my gosh, we had money like squirting out our ears. For about a month, Molly and I were the got bucks in our little town out there in north central Pennsylvania. I guess what I'm trying to say is we might have tough times right now in the country, and things could get tough, but all in all of a sudden, this great economic engine of ours just takes a snap for the better, and you'd be surprised how nice things can get again. And now and then, I guess what I'm saying is, if it's slow right now for you, just find something you like to do and do it. Because don't be a spendthrift, but just kind of hang in there as best you can. Cook a few meals at home, and there you go. Soup, chili, meatloaf, all that stuff's just, well, that'll just warm the crockery of your heart. Okay, so again, if you're in a bit of a jam, these things happen. Just gotta weather them out, and next thing you know, bingo, you're back watching TV with a big old snack right there in your lap. Okay, I'll catch you later. Bye now, and God bless. Keep your chin up. Bye now.